and I am back with another speed build. So today we're going to be building a Swedish inspired family home. I've wanted to build one of these for a really long time, and the reason why I chose to be able to do one is because Sweden is a place that I really want to go and visit. My fiance probably visits Sweden about 6 or 7 times a year. He visits Stockholm and he has to go there for business trips. So hopefully I'll be able to go with him at some point, and that will be really interesting, and I'll be looking forward to that if that ever happens. But yeah, I thought it'd be really nice to be able to share a Swedish inspired family home with you, especially as I do know that a lot of people from Sweden do like to watch my channel, and that is absolutely amazing. I thought I would, and that is something that I really want to do as well. I want to be able to create some houses just from various places. I mean, it's not going to be a series or anything, but I think that if I was to do a series, it will be more castles, so castles around the world, that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm thinking about it definitely. I think it would be a really interesting idea, and I do enjoy doing larger builds than this, and it's pretty rare that I do sit down and enjoy a smaller build. I have been enjoying 40 by 30s recently, but family homes do feel quite generic for me. But I did really enjoy this. I did try to make it look as accurate as I could see on the pictures, and I think that was pretty interesting for me anyway. I did also try to follow the red traditional paints of a Swedish traditional home, so hopefully you'll see that when I start to paint it in a little bit. What I was doing is I was getting the shape together. I thought about going for maybe a suburban sort of shape, which I usually do. I did use a little bit of the Hamptons mansion trick that I did, I think a couple of weeks ago now, and that was completely inspired by Jennifer Lopez's house, if you didn't know that. So that's why I did that one, and I did use a little bit of similar roofing there, and that's because when I was looking at Swedish houses, that was one of the first ones that popped up to me. I saw a house with this really beautiful roof that went all the way down, and I loved it, so I thought I would incorporate that in because I thought it looked really pretty, and I thought it looked really good for this build. Then I was just finishing off around the sides here. I thought just putting in lots and lots of roofing. I really do enjoy putting roofing around. I just really enjoy it. I find roofing and also landscaping are probably my favourites. My least favourites about building are probably putting windows around the back, because I don't like doing that. And I also don't like, I think probably decorating bathrooms is a burden for me. So yeah, when it comes to decorating the interiors, I think that the bathrooms are just something that I don't like to do for some reason. I love doing the lounge, the kitchen, the dining room, rooms like that, but when it comes to anything else, no, I hate it. But yeah, so anyway, what I was doing is I was putting on the roofing. I went with a black roofing, and I was trying to decide which paint I'd go for. I wanted it to be as accurate as I could find, and it was difficult because we don't have the exact colour, I don't think, and it was either too pink or too dark, and I went with a pink look in the end. I just thought the pink colour looked really good. Also, it did remind me of a really lovely shed or something, and that is just, I don't know, I think for sheds typically in America, I don't know though. In films and things, I've watched loads of films with bright red sheds, and it looks incredible, and I am such a fan of barn conversions. I keep saying to my fiance that if we ever move back to England, I want to live in a barn conversion because I just think it looks so incredibly amazing. But yeah, it wouldn't be a barn conversion like this, unfortunately, but I just love barns. I've always had a fascination with barns. In fact, a barn was somewhere that I really was considering to get married at, and I would have definitely got married at a barn with like a red sort of exterior. I haven't got married yet, but yeah, so I would do that if it came to it. But yeah, my wedding's in, I think, a week. Oh my gosh. I think when I share this video, it'll be in about a week, but I'm not sure. It's about 2 weeks till my wedding whilst I'm recording this, but because I'm pre-recording for my wedding, I have no idea when I'll be sharing it. But yeah, so what I was doing is I was putting the windows round. I went with the shutters because I think they look so incredibly pretty. I love the get-together ones, and I thought they looked really good with this build. I love the sort of clash between the white and the red. I think that's probably one of my favourite things about the build, and I also did go a little bit crazy on the ivy, and I don't know how accurate this would be. I'm not sure if houses like this would have ivy, but I thought because it was my home that I was building, and I know that a lot of people do watch my houses for ivy, for the landscaping that I do, and because I haven't done this style in a really long time, I thought, do you know what, I'm going to do it again. I have been getting messages asking when I'll be uploading another Tudor home or a suburban house, and I think that I will. But I think that at the moment I want to focus on bigger builds like castles and things that are really big and out there. I do actually want to do a Disney series, and that does sort of link to this video, believe it or not, because I was watching conspiracy theories online. I love my old conspiracy theories. I am obsessed with conspiracies about absolutely anything. So yeah, I was watching a conspiracy about Disney and it was incredible. And it was all about Elsa and Anna, the place that they live. It's supposed to be a Scandinavian kingdom, somewhere like that. But the parents disappeared and Rapunzel was living in Germany, and that's where Rapunzel's supposed to be based. And it was just really interesting, the fact that all these stories could actually be linked, the fact that the parents could have had a boat crash on the way to Germany at Rapunzel's wedding, and then they could have crashed somewhere across from there. And it's a complete conspiracy theory that Tarzan is actually the lost prince and it could be their son. But yeah, I was thinking about that whilst I was building it, and I do want to do something Disney inspired. I did a Belle's house, I think about 6 months ago now, so it was a really long time ago when I did it. But that was only on the Sims 4 gallery, so it wasn't on YouTube or anything, but that was the first Disney creation that I ever did. And that is just because Belle's probably one of my favourite characters. But yeah, I really want to do Disney inspired castles, so I think that after this, that's what I'll be doing. And I'll be sharing those pretty soon. In fact, I'll probably get making them as soon as I finish this video off, and I really want to do that. So that is probably going to be my next series for a little bit. And then I'm probably going to do some other mansions. So I think that in between that, I will just be focusing more on mansions rather than small houses. I do like big videos. I love to speak for a long time rather than maybe 10 minutes at a time. I find it easier to do big videos because it just gives me more to talk about. And yeah, I like sharing my life with you as well. I like actually talking about things that are relevant to the video and also about my life. I mean, I like sharing things on YouTube with you all, and I just find you all really supportive, and the comments I get from my videos just make my day every single time I read them. Definitely want to be doing more big videos, more mansions, things like that. And if you do have any ideas, or if you do have any ideas of a Disney princess mansion that you do want to see, then let me know, because I have been thinking about it for a while. To be honest, it was in between doing a Disney princess mansion and doing a celebrity mansion. And I think I'll probably just do both those ideas and I'll just vary them at some point. But yeah, I'll do that. What I was doing at this point is I was finishing off the driveway. I put some cars in at the front, so I just enlarged some toy objects, and I really love the look to that. One being a van to carry heavy things in, and the other being one of those top off cars. I don't know what they're called, but yeah, I've always wanted to drive around in one of those. And in fact, I did get the opportunity to when I was doing my German exchange in Germany, I think about 6 years ago. It was a really long time ago at school, and it was really fun, but I imagined it to be a lot funner. And the driver wasn't very friendly, so that didn't make anything more enjoyable, I don't think, because the farmers that we did the work experience with were so nasty. It was crazy. So what I was doing as well is I was putting some hedges around the sides of the builds. I really loved these hedges, and I think they look so incredibly neat. I also have been trying to vary my landscaping styles because I want to keep people interested in my builds, and I want to just make things different to how I would usually do them. And that's what I have been trying to do a lot. I have been trying to be more diverse, even though some people do want me to carry on doing Tudor homes and suburban homes exactly the way I'm doing them, just slightly differently. And others want me to do something completely unique and different. So I am trying to vary different things, but I am trying to keep as many people happy as I possibly can. I was back to the front then, and what I was doing is I was dragging down the roofing here. I thought that it did look a little bit Hamptons at this point, and I was quite proud of it. I did actually extend this part because the roofing wasn't meeting up. It was a real shame because if it had have met up there, it would look really good, but it didn't, and it just looked really crooked for some reason, and I just couldn't fix it. So what I did to fix it was I extended the roofing out, and I think I left it like that. I can't remember if I extended anything else out. I think what I did to make it look a little bit better though was I put in some humongous chimneys. I love big chimneys, and I think for this home it just makes it look loads more cottagey than I wanted it to, and I loved that look. I was also just putting it in the front door, and I was seeing the different doors that might be a nice option. Before I did that though, I wanted to move all the windows down, and that's what I was doing there. So I did actually put the bottom floor on small. I think that's how I did it. But yeah, I went for a really bright white door, and that's because I wanted it to match the rest of the build. I thought that if I went with like a blue door or something, it just wouldn't look very good, so I thought white would just be a really good look for this build. I was then just putting some lights around and just finishing off that part of it, and I wanted to do that because I wanted it to be really bright. At night time, that is something that's very important for my builds. I don't like builds that are really bright in the daytime, and then as soon as it hits night time, they're completely pitch black and unplayable. And then I was just adjusting the front area. The front area was actually really odd, seeing as it is a separate garden with half of it, and then the other part is a parking area. I don't know, quite like it though. I must not have put a garage at the front there. I really thought that I did put a garage at the front there, but I still think that it turned out quite nicely. What I was doing here is I was making an overhang for the house. I'm really into doing this recently. I used to do this in really old builds of mine. So back on the Sims 4 gallery, probably about 6 to 9 months ago, a lot of my builds did have an overhang at the front, and I really loved that. And I think a lot of the reason why I stopped is because I did it so much, and I'm going back to that idea just because I really like it, and I haven't shared a lot of those homes on YouTube. So I think for the idea of having a post box there or having your Sims sit down, I think it's just a really nice idea. This is when I was doing the gardens. The garden itself is quite a square shape. I was just putting in a nice fence, and I was also deciding where I put everything. I wanted to try out some new unique ideas, and I think that instead of trying out new unique ideas, what I did instead was I tried out old ideas, which I did for really old ones of my builds. So I did put in a gazebo, and I haven't done a built-in gazebo for quite some time. I actually did one on, I think, Pilar's home, so the home that the pomegranates have in my Let's Play, they have a gazebo in their back. But it's just very similar to that, and I did do that on my old builds as well, so I thought that that would be a really lovely idea for this garden. If you do have any garden ideas that you do want me to try out, then please let me know, because I'm really open to trying out new ideas, especially with gardens and interiors as well. If you have any ideas of what I could do on the interiors, I'd absolutely love to know. This was when I was doing the gazebo part, so I couldn't decide whether to have it on the ground or maybe a little bit elevated. I did go for the elevated style, and I like that. I was also thinking about what I could add around the space, and I decided to put some landscaping around and maybe fill it up with those really big trees. I love using big trees, and I think in gardens as well, it just gives so much more privacy. In fact, I am so tree jealous at the moment because I wish that I had this amount of privacy in my garden. But no, I have a very non-private garden, so I mean, if I was outside at any point, people can see into my garden at any point, and that can sometimes be quite troublesome, because it does mean that we have nosy neighbours, things like that, and that can really put me off going outside, especially in the garden area. But yeah, so I was just finishing off with some humongous trees, which might look a little bit odd in Willow Creek itself, but I still think for the build, I think that it goes really well. But that is the end of the build, so I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all for part 2. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to show you the screenshots now.